Should be up and going here in just a second. Yes, we are.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show, the At the Net podcast. We got our guest already ready next to us, Andrew Redvanly, and next to me, as always, Craig Bell. What's up, Andrew? So happy to have you. Looking forward.
Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Happy Sunday to you, Craig Bell, about to get us rolling.
Just making sure we're still there.
He's, he'll give endless credit to our two producers.
Yep.
But you know who's really producing tonight is this cat right here.
Yeah, trying to anyway.
Hard at work.
Hard at work, you know.
Double duty as co-host and producer.
An old dog, new tricks. Okay, Andrew, we're going to get going now, and give us about 2 minutes, and we'll start talking. Okay. Here we go, James Scott Campbell,
whose birthday it is today.
Is it?
Hello, you are At the Net. And welcome, friends, to another episode of the At the Net podcast, powered by Tex-Mex Productions. Working the soundboards in the back of the house are our producers, D-Mac and Dave the Brain. Time to say hello to your hosts, Craig Bell and AJ Shabria, as they're about to take us through 3 sets of tennis, talking life and all the news as it seems to them. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Bell.
All right, thanks to our At the Net podcast girl. That would be Margot Carter for that stylish introduction.
Stylish she is.
Very stylish.
Definitely.
And welcome, fans of the great game. You are listening to Season 1, Episode 99. We're almost at the century mark.
That's right. Next week, man.
Yep, At the Net podcast with AJ Chabria, right?
And next to me, as always, Craig Bell.
Am I Craig Bell? This evening? Okay.
I think you were going to say, am I next to you as always?
Yeah.
Usually.
Okay. We're talking the great game of tennis as it seems to us. Thanks also I need to start that over again. Thanks also go out to our good amigos at Tex-Mex Productions. That would be Darian D. Mac McBrayer, Dave the Brain from back of the house, who are on the soundboards, right? Are they on the soundboards tonight? We hadn't had a brain sighting tonight. I actually did this all by myself, so I'm pretty proud of myself. Hopefully this is live and we're doing stuff, and we're not Memorex, right?
We are not. We are live, and so is our guest. This guy's awesome.
Andrew probably doesn't remember Memorex, but, I do, so. You do too, don't you?
I definitely do. I had the poster in my dorm room.
Did you really?
It was actually probably Maxell, but very similar.
Okay.
The in the chair, blown away by the sound, hair blown back by the rock and roll.
Yeah. Also, be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Plus, check out our good work on. Should I take my deep breath now? Fireside, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Acre, Breaker, CastBox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify. I made it that time. All with one breath.
Exhale.
Basically, all the important communication sites the kids find popular today, right?
That's right.
They do. And if you're female, sorry, guys. We like female voices like Margot's. If you'd like to be an At the Net girl and read the opening intro, just hit us up on the digits, right?
Good.
Yeah, we have all the social platforms, the Facebook messengers, the Instagram, all sorts of opportunities.
Too many to mention with one breath. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of stylish, our guest this evening. What did I say Stevening for? It's this evening. Golly, man, what a night tonight. All right, well, this man put the style in stylish.
Definitely.
Did you know that?
Definitely.
Yeah, you probably didn't know that. That's Andrew Redvanly. There he is, man. This man is just a legend out there in the clothing industry. So, Andrew, welcome.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it.
I think you're going places, man, or already been places, and keep them climbing. So we appreciate you coming on At the Net podcast with us and being part of the big program tonight. How you doing?
I'm good, guys, and I appreciate you having me.
Well, we enjoy. We've been talking with you about 2 months now, I guess, or 6 weeks, something like that. And so we're really excited to be here. And you're on our 99th podcast right before our big 100 right there. So you're in high territory with us. So that's it's great to have you out this evening. And also, speaking of birthdays, you said James Scott Campbell. You're about to have a birthday, if I'm correct, like November 27th.
Thangesting kid, aren't you?
Yeah.
Every year.
It's good because all those family members that don't show up to Christmas, they got to hit you with they got to hit you with the gift.
Right. Love
it's
it.
not too close to Christmas where they're like, wait, here's your, double
here's your combined extravaganza gift.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, Craig mentioned we were introduced to you about 2 months ago over emails through a mutual friend who owns and runs one of the, I would say, top country club shops in our area. His name is Dan. I think he's originally from Manchester or somewhere in the north of England, and did some time as a tennis director in Connecticut. And here he comes, only been in Dallas maybe 2-3 years, and boom, introducing us to guys like you. What was the synergy, and what was the reason that a vendor, a dealer, a stockist, as you might say, in the very British English you use on the website. Yeah. So if you have 400 stockists, how are they so loyal to your brand, loyal enough to introduce you to us?
Yeah, I think we've taken the approach of kind of like, very, day by day. I think, from the beginning, we never took any money. We kind of started ourselves, crazy kind of stories of putting money on credit cards and, just as bootstrapped as you could possibly get. And I think there's a group of people out there that kind of linked onto that. And I think said, hey, I love what these guys are doing. And I think they like our product. And I think, a combination of both and kind of believing in the brand and the people. I think that's what we're all about. And, that being said, too, when we first started, we were so small and, our product wasn't nearly where it is now. And I think there's still a lot of people that believed in us then in terms of like, hey, these guys are going somewhere and kind of, backed us. And I think that's a really cool thing that we kind of have had happen to us in certain areas. And, there's certain ones that didn't. And that's kind of fun, too, because you can kind of, knock on those doors again and say, hey, remember me?
Hey, remember me?
But no, Dan's a great guy, and he's one of our kind of tennis ambassadors. He's a big believer in what we're doing, and he's an aggressive guy too, and he kind of can sell. I mean, he's a great salesman. He kind of goes in there and tells people what to do, and we've gotten a lot of people that have jumped on board on the tennis community just through his connections. So that's been really nice, and we've been getting a lot. It's been getting, I wouldn't say easy, but it's been getting a lot easier where we've kind of grown the brand, met a ton of people, done business with a ton of people. And I think that's kind of helped with, not having to make too many cold calls, if you will. And, Craig had mentioned to me that, he did some sales, early on. And that's a huge thing when you can kind of get a lot of people that are, pushing you in the right direction. It just makes the business a little bit easier.
And those cold calls aren't so cold anymore. They're at least warm. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. It is. It's especially, for the sales reps and everybody. And it just makes it, a much easier and more, fun time, I guess. Cause in the beginning it was, you heard a lot of no's. Let's put it that way.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's not a lot of fun when you have to.
No, thank you, or not today, or
yeah, we'll think about it.
Yeah, it's part of the game, though. Whether you come whether you come from apparel sales or general business, finance, anything, you're going to have some cold calls, some warm calls, some rejection, and hopefully a little bit of hey, remember me. Here we are in our 8th year or whatever it is, and we're shaking it up. We're doing great. Let's get into the meat of the first set and tell us about your sporting background and how you got passionate about something like apparel. And you're free to kind of talk about hockey, talk about working for a sports agent, that kind of stuff. Tell us your path.
Yeah, so all through college, I was a pretty competitive hockey player, and at that point, I think I kind of realized the NHL was a little bit too far away. And then the options were kind of playing minor league hockey and actually internationally, overseas. And I probably should have done that, but knowing me and it was so kind of like, hey, well, if I'm not going to go to the show, I want to start my career. And so I really started to kind of focus in on sports, and I had a passion for, hockey. And I thought being a sports agent would be the next best thing for me. In terms of I felt like it was almost like your own little business since I have a big business, right? So I kind of like that kind of mindset. But, going down that road kind of opened up, a lot to me in terms of what I really wanted to do. And that industry, it's a very competitive one. And I think in a negative way, in my opinion, because, if you're great at what you do, and if we're working as a team together, we should all be making money together. We should all be growing together. And as a sports agent, as you guys know too, well, if I have Joker and you work for me and I got 20 other guys and I'm not paying it, you're going to take my guys because I'm not going to give them to you because that's my business, right? So, and there's not enough guys to go around. to say, hey, Andrew, take these, 10, up and coming guys who are going to be on tour for the next 20 years. It just doesn't work like that. And once I kind of saw that, I said, I'd rather put my time into something else that I could really own. And that's when I kind of came up with this concept of, premier athletic wear line for individual athletes. And I say that because, I started to play more individual sports after college, right? I think most people do that.
For sure.
They pick up tennis, they pick up golf, whether they're running, hiking, whatever they're doing it on their own because, you're not going down with a group of 30 other men to play, football on a Saturday, right? So I said to myself, I think I can create a brand that focuses on those individual sports. It's a little bit broader than just your, golf line or your tennis brand, but nowhere near as broad as like your Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. So I felt like we can kind of be this niche there. And, I didn't really know much about clothing, but I just felt like I could create a brand. And I figured, hey, I'll figure that stuff out later, which is kind of insane. But I think at the same time, if I knew what I did now, I probably wouldn't have done it. So I think it was kind of like a blessing in disguise to not know how difficult that was going to be. But that's kind of a little bit of a scoop.
Can I ask one question?
Of course.
The Crackpot Research Department was looking into Andrew's hockey career. Didn't notice any penalty minutes in the sin bin. So you must have been a nice player.
Just a clean player.
You're a clean player.
I don't know what stats you're looking at, but I like them. That's good for me.
No time in the sin bin. So I thought
I don't know if that's true, but I wasn't let's put it this way, I wasn't mucking it up too much, but I had a few penalties, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, even your haircut belies the hockey. It's not hockey hair. It's not the mullet that goes down from the helmet.
Right.
You're such a clean guy.
So did you play with the face mask on? Did you have a face mask?
Yeah.
Were you in that group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew eventually that people would be wearing helmets and face masks. So I didn't know if your group, had that or if you just went who was the last one? It was Boston Bruin guy, not Bobby Orr. Who was
Hull? No.
I'm going to think about this. He
I
was the last guy.
Craig McTavish.
Craig McTavish. Was he the last one not to wear a helmet?
Yeah. Which is insane. Like
insane.
Watch those games. Like he was the only guy without a helmet on, just skating around, just like crazy. They grandfathered him in.
Yeah.
You're like, you can still wear it.
I feel like Gordie Howe. This is a little more our time, but Gordie Howe was late to adopt the helmet, and I enjoyed the Montreal Canadiens for a while. Guy Lafleur, Guy Lapointe. There are a few guys who were like, okay, I know who those two are because there's no helmet, and then everybody else, like you said, insane. Early '80s like that. Yeah.
They had about 3 teeth. What's really insane,
look how good Andrew's teeth are. What's up?
Man, he does, and his nose is straight. Man.
I love it, man.
That's the helmet.
It's got to be.
Yeah. No, I thought I need to look up. I saw some stats, and I know you went to Suffolk University, and was there anything with number 33 associated with? Looked like you were number 33 during your playing career.
No, that was unfortunate because I would never ever wear that number. But that's kind. I don't even know. Can't even tell you the story. But freshman that year, we just kind of these are the options, and that's one of the worst numbers. I got rid of that because then I switched to I think 18, and then I got 19, which was my number. 9 or 19 is what I usually played with. So I got rid of that 33, I think, sophomore year. Because, that's like a goalie now. It's brutal.
Yeah. It's usually low numbers, like 10, 6, 10, something like that.
He was a forward. He was up front. He was
forward,
you were moving through the
brutal number.
Yeah, that's funny.
Sorry about that.
That's awesome.
Go down that bear trap.
Good work on the research department there.
Right.
Man, tell us about, Andrew, you got to tell us a little bit about working with your brother and your cousin and how you started it. This is almost like a Shark Tank episode that we get to watch as we're following up with Andrew. It's funny. So talk a little bit about Eric and Dave as business partners. Yeah,
it's been great. I mean, like the beginning, I kind of started on my own, and at the time, Dave was 2 years younger than me. We both moved into an apartment in Jersey City with one of my buddies that I went to college with and one of his buddies. So it kind of was like we moved into this like space, kind of we were, I don't know, 23, 24, whatever it may be. And we all kind of bunked in. And And so he kind of saw me in the beginning stages, and we've always been very tight growing up, more like, best friends as opposed to cousins.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of living out that dream of just kind of living together. We always kind of talked about like, oh yeah, we'll get a place together eventually. And like, it was actually happening, and it was kind of cool. And he saw, the beginning stages of this company, as raw as it was. And, we weren't at a point then to kind of like, hey, jump ship or whatnot. He had a good gig doing pharma sales. And, so yeah, he kind of just supported the company, when we needed some cash, and, he was doing well. And, it was a way for us to kind of like get this thing going. And then about, I think it's almost a little over 2.5 years ago, the timing was right where we had grown enough, and he came on board full time. And likewise with my brother, and it just worked out perfectly. Of course, there's like, anytime you're working and there's family and we're all close, it's like, there can be stress. That's for sure. I'm not gonna deny that. But at the same time too, we're in this really cool spot where like, we're just so busy right now. We're building and we're growing. And it's like, I feel like we're going to really enjoy this in a couple of years when we can kind of sit back a little bit and say, hey, that was kind of, that grind was really fun and we miss it a little bit, So like, as crazy as it is, kind of try to enjoy it a little bit, because, these are going to be the days that I think these like next few years, as we continue to kind of grow, the days that you're going to be like, oh, that was a lot of fun. So, but it's a good thing overall. And everyone's doing a great job. And I think overall it'll be a really fun thing, especially as we continue to get to where we want to get to really kind of enjoy it together.
Good stuff. Speaking of enjoying, let's move to the second set. Yeah. We want to talk about current and future projects. If you were to put this premium apparel, mainly for individual athletes, tell us what's so much better about this product. I'm talking about fit, fabrication, materials. You've even got underwear and shorts that I feel are a cut above anybody else. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think, for us as a brand, and you kind of hit it on the head, people sometimes they'll just ask like, what's different about your product? People always love to ask that. And they expect an answer in, I think, like one sentence. And in terms of like apparel, I mean, there's a million things that we're doing, but we're just trying to do everything 5-10% better. Right. And I think you can do that. And I think that's for any business, right? You go in and you say, oh, I want to open up, a local, bagel shop. Well, if your bagels are a little bit better and your customer service is a little bit better and your people are a little bit better, you got a great business. Right. So, for us, it's kind of the same thing. I would say like all of our materials, the best way for me to describe it is kind of like what Lulu did early on. I think they went out and they created a better product than your Nike, your Adidas, in terms of just like, oh, this fabric feels a lot better. It fits better. It looks like they took the time to really kind of dig deeper. And I would say we've done that, I think, across the board with all of our materials. What we hope for is that, if someone buys one item of ours, we'd love to get them crossing over into another style product, because then all of a sudden like, well, this feels great too. And the whole idea is to feel really great and also to perform. As an athletic wear company, one of the things we took from like a Nike in terms of their language is, they're very competitive, right? When any Nike ad, and they want you to win. And I believe in that. Like, we're not a fashion line, we're a sport line. And at the end of the day, we're never going to sacrifice a look for performance. Now, we try to blend it as best we can, but, you're not going to, the runway, right, to a show, or you're playing tennis, you're playing golf, you're being active. So that's our thing. And in terms of performance, you won't find products that perform as good as ours, or, we're right at the top there. People have got great product, but I know we can put ours to the test, across anybody's. And yeah, so it's just little things. I mean, I would say like overall, it's just little things that we're trying to do across the board that kind of stack up. And then, yeah, we kind of just put our money where our mouth is and say, try it out. And I think it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is what that guy was talking about for 20 minutes, but it's hard to kind of put it into words and in layman's terms for, people that aren't in the fashion world or apparel world. But overall, it is really fit performance. And and obviously also our look, we go for that little bit more of like that modern European kind of classic look that kind of stands out. And we're going to try to keep doing as best we can and keep research, keep developing. Once you feel like you got it, you have it made, you don't. So, we're in works right now for a lot of things for, 2023, new products, new fabrics, just try to always get a little bit better each year.
Not just a good communicator and a good businessman, Andrew, you also sound like a former athlete and a coach. The idea of this % better every year, every season, every day. The John Wooden, the great John Wooden, UCLA basketball legend, would say 1% better every day. And you sound
true.
like that, and I believe that resonates with pro shop buyers even over an email. But now let's get into the touch and feel. I'm a little bit of a snob when it comes to cheap polys. You made fun of Adidas and Nike. I've worn both. I haven't enjoyed wearing both. I do like some of the Adidas shoes. I'm wearing some shorts by them right now. But I want you to talk about the look, feel, and the fabrication, and what is 5-10% or more better about Redvanly product.
Yeah. So for example, like, our fabric is a poly, like, everyone's using some sort of poly span.
Sure.
I think we're not, to the most degree they are. For us, we use a lot of spandex, which really helps with our stretch. We probably have more spandex than most companies. In our poly spandex that we use for our crews and our polos, I think we have about 12%, which is a pretty darn good amount.
Most companies are going 4, 5, 6%, right?
Yeah, around there. So I think we're about double that, which really helps with obviously your stretch. And then in terms of like our polyester, the yarn that we're using is just spun super, super tight. That's really what it comes down to. You know what I mean? So we're going after, you can get polyester. It's a weird thing because you can look at a poly span shirt and it could be similar in terms of what it says on paper.
Yeah.
This is 95.5. Then you can feel somebody else's 95.5. And it becomes that quality of the yarn and how it's spun and how it's produced and all that sort of, fine details that, our mills that we work with know exactly what we're looking for. And we literally will, if we find something good that we like, we always strive to beat it too and say, hey, how do we make this a little bit softer? How can we stretch it a little bit? What can we do?
Yeah.
And how do we do that? And, it's not necessarily rocket science. I think there just comes a point in time where, and we're seeing it now too, where you can kind of get, I think you start getting a market share, you start looking at margins more, you start, seeing maybe where you can cut a little bit because you got guys loving your stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, okay, whatever we put out, we can sell.
Yeah.
I think
dangerous.
It's a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And like, we're like, I told our team, like, cause like sometimes you kind of can start feeling that like, oh, this is working, but we got to act like it's almost not working at times to kind of continue to keep up
and to not sell out and go cheap, because my goodness, there's some cheap crap on the shelves and you could tell that it's not the tight weave poly span that you're talking about. And it's that's going to smell not great in about 3 weeks, Is
that bulletproof polyester? Yeah, when you shoot a gun at it, bounces off.
Hey. It could come in handy, right?
It could.
No, it kind of depends. It wears like iron.
Sure. Like iron. Funny. Yeah,
it is iron.
Hey, you mentioned mills that you work with. I want to, as athletes, as former athletes, as current athletes, maybe, hopefully, as coaches, we're always in the business of positivity and solving problems. Let's be honest. There's some problems out there on the supply side, maybe on the labor side. Tell us how you've whipped up on those challenges this past year or two.
Yeah, so there are. I think for us, like we've noticed that ports are really, really jammed up, and the reason for that is not everyone's just bringing in apparel, right? Like people are bringing in a lot of big things, whether it's park benches or anything you can imagine that's getting shipped over here. Most of the stuff has to go on a boat, right? Just
containers, 1,000 of them or whatever on a huge boat from overseas, probably Asia, but could be anywhere.
Yeah, and so what you're dealing with is there's a big demand for almost everything, right? A lot of stuff is up in demand. Cars, people can't get cars because of the chips, and what are those things coming in on? They're coming in on boats, and I think at the end of the day, the space too is tough because now you have everybody trying to get on these boats. So one of the things that we did was we started to airship a lot of our product, and which is quite expensive. But at the end of the day, it's kind of similar right now, depending on what you're bringing in, because the airplanes are actually a little bit easier to get on because there's only so much you can put on a plane. So we've been actually getting better, easier, products on planes than on a boat that could take 35 days.
Right.
And then sit at a port for 20 days. And we said to ourselves, especially when we saw the pricing, and we were almost like, I think we're maybe saving some money by airing this stuff in.
Crazy.
And so that's been really helpful. I mean, granted, it's still, cuts into your margin because typically, for example, like one container on a boat used to be around like $2,000. And now I think it's at $25,000.
Mm-hmm. So
it's a huge, huge difference. So even if you're bringing it on a plane and it's costing you 20, well, you're still down, $18,000, right, in terms of your margin. But so we're just trying to figure out as we go into next year, working with our team and trying to figure out, how do we get ahead of this and how do we make sure we have product? Because we also seen a lot of opportunity this year with people, especially on the retail side, not having product. And maybe some of those people that didn't give us a chance, we had product.
Yep.
Now they took it, they did well with it, and now we have an account and it's doing well. So we're looking at that opportunity too of, okay, this could be kind of good for us in a sense where, a lot of those people that maybe didn't give us a chance that were still knocking on those doors, a lot of them opened up and said, hey, if you can get us stuff, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to continue to try to, bring in products as fast as we can. And, but it also, last thing I'll say about that too is, it has kind of changed the industry in a sense that, I think people are a little bit less picky, and we all are in general, right? Like through COVID and the pandemic, and it used to be like, oh, I only eat here, I only do this, I only do that. And all of a sudden it's like, well, you're not eating anywhere. Then when someone says you can eat here, you're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And you might have you might have liked a restaurant you never went to because you're like, oh, I never liked that. But now you went there, you're like, actually it's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of getting some of that stuff too, in terms of just like brands that maybe people think, oh, I can't sell that, or I don't have a member for that. But then all of a sudden they're like, well, I got no product, so I want to give you a shot just to get and then all of a sudden, well, you do have a member, right? And so I think there's a lot of stuff that's kind of happened that's been good. But yeah, it's been interesting. We'll just kind of see what happens. But I think at the end of the day, being in demand that's a good situation. And then finding out how to get the product there, I feel like that's like the easier side of the situation. Yes, it's tricky, but it's like almost like if someone told you, hey, you're going to sell to every store in the country. They're going to buy all this product. You just got to figure out how to get it here. Like go swim, get a boat, rent a plane, figure it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you will find that solution.
That solution's doable. The hard part, I think, is getting it in, having the product get it going somewhere. So,
well, man, congrats on both phases of that game. That's really well done, both periods of it.
Yeah, it's hard to be able. I'm sitting here thinking about all the logistical, not just the time of a normal business, but with the pandemic, the last 18 months, it's been so different to be able to. There's a lot of shortages, not just in the clothing industry, but all just in the industry in general, and then also the labor shortage also too. So you've had a lot to overcome.
Yeah, it's been tricky, but we've been lucky too with I think the tennis world, the golf world, all picking up and business being in a good spot. So it's kind of like the beginning was scary. Now we're in a good situation. So I think we're also kind of lucky in that way too, that these sports have been picking up and the work from home has been a big part of that.
Yeah.
I think allowing people to go get to the court a little bit, maybe they'll play at 2:00 on a Tuesday when they couldn't. Golfers, right? 4-hour rounds. Now you can maybe play at 5:00 in the afternoon after your day, as opposed to like having to play on the weekend. So that's kind of uptick the business for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned individual sports. Of course, we're probably going to spend time talking about tennis and golf. But what are some of the other individual sports? Of course, pickleball, extraordinarily a growth enterprise, similar to the cut of tennis clothes. Tell us a little bit about your exploits in other sports besides golf and tennis.
Yeah, so right now we're kind of building out our active collection, which, crosses over into tennis, into pickle, into just everyday kind of working out, kind of like, what you'd think of like a Lulu on the men's side.
Yeah, athleisure is the word we hear all the time, right?
Yes, exactly. So we're really pushing that next. We're going to basically double down on everything that we're doing there, because I think that market is kind of the biggest. And in terms of, think about men. Not everyone plays tennis, not everyone plays golf, but they are trying to stay active and do something. And I think so. You have a customer, widespread customer there that's going to be interested, especially in the world we're living in now.
Yeah.
But like we're thinking about little things too. Like eventually, we'd love to have like a really cool swim line for competitive swimmers, and going into whether that may be a little bit of ski. I mean, ski business is tough. So who knows how far we want to take it, but ski would be one. Competitive swim, those are kind of on our minds. Maybe a little bit more outdoors in terms of like outerwear.
Yeah, outerwear, hiking, that industry.
Hiking, kind of, and then maybe a little bit of competitive run, have a few products there for people that are really, running competitively, and kind of like you can kind of have a little bit for those, 5 or 6, 7 sports that you're dealing with. But what we're trying to do is make sure that we kind of create products that can cross over, just so we don't have a million things that, we get kind of too lost with what we're doing across the board.
You want the line fairly clean. Speaking of clean, the logo is a very stylized R, kind of, would you call it a cursive R? But it's kind of edgy. It's very, the two words I would use are clean, edgy, kind of a European look, which is what you're going for. Tell us about how you arrived at that red R.
Yeah, it's actually one of the things that I really enjoy kind of speaking about, because like as a brand, the logo's like the most important.
Oh, it's
thing.
huge. Yeah. I can tell you're into this. Yeah.
The logo's huge, and like it is one of those things where, I mean, I think we got one of the best logos out there. I love it, and it's so athletic looking, but it's got that clean, but like looks expensive kind of brand, but like not too cocky, and it's kind of just really what we are. And so the story is, at first I didn't want to do a letter with the brand, because it just seems like the easiest thing to do.
Very limiting. Like, it's boring.
Put an R, right? And I stayed away from it for a long time until I guess like something came up, and I saw in like a children's cursive, like how to write cursive book, and I saw an R that was a lot loopier, but it was similar to our logo, but it was like, definitely not as structured and sharp. It was just looser. And I remember I saw it, I said, well, that's kind of cool because it's lowercase. Yeah. So I was like, well, no one's doing lowercase, it's always it's always capitalized. So I was like, all right, well, that's different. So it allowed me to kind of think, okay, I can do this. And then at the time, when I was doing this is probably like a couple years before we even launched, because I wanted to get all this stuff out of the way, logo, branding, and it was expensive and scary to go hire like a good logo agency, adding whatever that may be, graphic design agency, to create the logo, because if you didn't have anything, they would just say to you, tell me about the brand, what you're doing, we're going to give you 3 options, and then you're going to pick from there, and you get 2 revisions, and that's that. And it was like 25 grand. So I was like, well, I don't have anywhere near 25 grand. So and I was like, well, what happens if I don't like the logo? What I mean? So it was super scary. So when I found this, I was able to kind of negotiate with a good group on, I have the logo.
Yeah, I already did your job. Yeah. All you got to do is kick the field goal, like the last bit.
Yeah. Like this is the extra point, and just get the colors going for us, the font, whatever, like kind of more the easy stuff, and sharpen this thing up. Yeah. And to their credit, they really did. I mean, they took the logo, even because when I first saw it, because I was kind of so in love with the first one I saw that I had to kind of, but now looking at the 2, it's crazy that, it's like, oh my goodness, it's like, they did a great job. So
just offline, this is off topic, or maybe it's offline. Text me a shot of the old one, and because I geek out on this stuff too. We love this kind of stuff. Oh branding, logo, kind of stuff.
We're into
it. So well done on the R, and it's very forward leaning, which makes me think of sports too.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of like almost like a guy running. It's like kind of like that. you're in the starter position.
Yeah. It's like a fast car. Even when it's parked, it looks fast because it's got the stance, right? It's got the engine. It's got something in there that intrigues us. Yeah. So nice going there.
Here's your site right now. We're
good.
Yeah, looking at it right now. So if
Good
anybody
stuff.
wants to check Andrew's workout, let's see right there on the iPhone right there. And
good stuff.
Yeah, right there. So there's these are right there. Yeah, really interesting.
Fun first and second sets. CB, we got to go to the third set here where you get to just let the hair down and have some fun with Andrew. Who is bringing us this, the sponsor-wise, the third set?
It would be Redvanly.
It is. I love it.
Yeah, he's sponsoring the third set right there. No, we want
nice going.
Yeah, just type in Redvanly, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Into your search engine.
That's it.
And it'll come up and show you all the great things you all are doing, right?
And all the 400-plus shops that stock the good product, right?
Yeah.
And when we say 400-plus stockists, is that in Canada, U.S., U.K., everywhere?
I think it's crazy. I think we're almost at currently right now we're probably close to 700, and that's probably worldwide though.
Okay,
yeah. I would say about maybe 550 U.S., Canada, and Mexico and the islands, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Caribbean, yeah. Hey, last question in this second set. We always say current and future projects. Give us a quick window into the future of Redvanly and how the culture of your company will continue to expand marketing efforts and sales and distribution efforts specific to the North American market, but you can go worldwide too.
Yeah. So right now, like I said, I think one of the big tidbits is the active side. You're going to see the brand really evolve that way and really push heavy into, I think right now we're geared a little when you go to our site, and it's very golf, tennis, and the active, I think, is kind of right behind it. I think we want to make sure that's equal. And that's one of the big things we're working on right now. In terms of, sales, I think that's also going to help. We sell to about 20 Nordstroms, and I know by having this active collection, it's going to open up the door for a lot more of those, and also different places. We still do a few Equinoxes, but because we kind of geared more towards golf, tennis, some of those things where I think major markets, major players, and I would say in terms of our online, we're really pushing our online business. I think at the end of the day, we appreciate and we love all of our stockists for what they're doing and supporting our brand, and also we could consider them partners, right? We want to help make them money and vice versa, and they're getting our brand out there. It's great. At the same time too, we need to focus, which we have, and which I think Intel helps anyone that stocks our product, is what we're doing in terms of our marketing, where we're spending our dollars, pushing our brand further and further, which we have a lot of exciting things going on with. One little tidbit that I'd say is you'll probably see a lot of people next year talking about Redvanly that aren't necessarily tennis pros or golf pros. We're going in a little bit different direction of guys that are kind of maybe somewhat pretty famous that love the sport that aren't actually those guys. I think it's a unique take. I think one of the things in our world, especially on the golf side, everyone's always going after, what golfers were, hey, what pro?
Yeah, what world ranking does that guy have? And you're going more influencer side or celebrities?
More celebrity, guys this person, loves golf, right? And he plays it all day long, and he's a huge golfer, but you didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's but he's a super cool dude, and he's a great guy in our product. Kind of a different angle is we're going to take the approach of.
I love that angle. I love finding out that a musician loves something that you didn't know, or a comedian is like a daily tennis guy or pickleball. Like Eddie Vedder, for example, my friend in Seattle teaches his daughter tennis, coaches a good level tennis player.
Yeah.
Eddie completely fell in love 2 years ago with pickleball at that club. Has built pickleball. He loves basketball too, but a sport court at his house, and that's one of those stories not a lot of people know. And I can see Eddie with a collared shirt, rocking pickleball, and then talking about it.
Super cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I think like stuff like that is and it's also a little bit easier because you got a lot of the top athletes, they have, deals that you'll never be able to get, or it's like the amount of money, it's kind of it's set up for the Nikes, the Adidas's and whatnot. And then, there's other guys out there too, but, do they fit the brand and what can they move the needle? And, so things like that. So, we're going to have some cool stuff going on there, which I think will also help obviously sales in shops. The more and more we kind of do our thing. Now, that being said too, we don't want to go too crazy. I think we're in a nice spot where we have a nice, really good niche, and we're still exclusive. There's a lot of people that know about us. There's a lot of people that don't, but I think we're at that point where if you don't, once you kind of look us up, you're kind of like, oh, these guys are cool. Wait, and that's what we want. We want to keep it where, we don't sell out too much, and, we want to grow, but we want to grow at the right speed.
Love it. Well, third set, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting. I'm always interested in fascinating. This is such a really interesting. We've not really had a clothing person on that manufactures, and then to understand their brain, how it works, how it thinks. It's associated with our game, but not necessarily distribution, all that that entails, from a clothing standpoint. So actually, just one quick question also too: how far out do you work in advance? So what line are you working on right now? So we're in fall 2021. Are you working on fall 2022, 23? Where are you?
So fall 22 is done.
It's done. Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to be showing that pretty much. That would be, you start showing that even into January, February, March. You're selling that stuff for, maybe like September, October, November of 22. And right now what we're working on is, like I said, we're developing a lot of new styles for active. So that process already started. And then for spring 23 golf tennis, like design wise, I would say in the next month or so here, we'll start to kind of put that together, which is crazy because we're literally just wrapping up, spring product coming in another month. And you don't really get to enjoy it sometimes because like, you're just like, oh, this line's done. And you're already thinking about the next, but which is kind of like, that's the one negative I think about the business is because we're so ahead because of, I think, pretty much on the retail side, if you just sold direct to consumer, you really wouldn't have to deal with being that far ahead. So I think there has been a lot of those brands that said, this is better margin, it's better, it's easier. But I think you also kind of lose, if you don't have, especially now, like I think, you saw what happened with the pandemic and, online went crazy. So everyone online was like, oh, this is great. But now look at golf and tennis. And if you were one of those brands that I want to get out of the wholesale, it's a pain in the ass. And now all of a sudden that business has doubled in the past year. And you're like, I think it's always good to have the two arms because you never know what could happen. Facebook, Google, they can change what they're doing on any day with like how you're advertising. Because, we really rely on them to touch people. So if they change that and make it harder, it's like, well, then you're kind of in trouble. We need to get billboards going again. Like,
old school.
So it's kind of tough. And that's why I think we're able to compete is because of all the digital, the world and Facebook and Google, and they make little guys get bigger and they allow that to kind of, before it was like, if you weren't Ralph Lauren, it's like, oh, you want to walk into an ad agency, it's like $1 million a month, right? To get all this stuff. So I think for us, it's good to have the both arms.
What a great answer and a great question, CB. Thank you.
Last one, next. Just piqued my curiosity. On your design team, are you the one coming up with most of the stuff, or do your partners in crime, your family, do you all kind of think? Do you get the finance guy, the marketing guy involved? Do you get you let them or go? Nah, you give them the Heisman and kind of go, look, I got this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty in tune. I mean, I would say I probably do about 90% of it, and then we have three wonderful young ladies who really help with that as well. They kind of bring it to life. I don't know how to sketch. I'm not like your typical guy. I think I have an eye for a certain thing, and when I see it, we send it to them, and they kind of bring it to life. Kind of similar with the logo. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. Yeah. If we're looking into things or whatever catches my eye or what I want to do with the line, and they kind of bring it to life. So I owe a lot to them. And then it's like, yes, no, yes. Oh, this is really good. I didn't think of this. So it's a nice little team that we have right now. Yeah.
I love your expression of the two arms and being diverse there. You mentioned Facebook, Google, digital media, digital marketing. Tell us about boots on the ground. Do you have reps out there, or do you simply manage them, or is it rep groups that you employ?
Yeah, so we have about, I think we have about 10 reps right now. And it's a good number for us. We brought on Ryan Fite, who's our National Director of Sales this past year. He was from Vineyard Vines, so we're excited to bring him on. Great guy, and he's doing a hell of a job managing the reps and, just kind of being a face to that side of the business. And in terms of the reps, I'm in tune with them too on a daily basis. I think, I did all of our sales for a certain period of time, and I still am involved with it, as Craig knows. I think it's important too because it's one of the things that I do enjoy, and I think there was a time where I thought, oh, maybe it's good to like step away from this, and then someone told me like, well, list the things that you're strong at with the brand, and if this is one of those things, why would you get somebody else to kind of do it? And it kind of made sense to me. The areas where I'm weaker, yes, find better people, but for the time being, and I also think too, a lot of people like to put a face to the name, and like the fact that I'm involved in that, and they know that, hey, if anything happens, I can go to Andrew and he can get this done for me. So I think that's important, and it really shows that we're partnering up with these guys, and it's good. But yeah, we have about 9 or 10 people on the ground running around, and it's good. Everyone's doing a great job, and I think we don't have a rep in every territory. But that being said, I think we do get out and we do get to kind of service most of the major markets of the country. And that kind of keeps us again in that position where, we don't necessarily need a rep in every territory, because if we did, then it would be like, well, you're kind of going against that whole idea of not being everywhere. Right.
Makes sense. Exclusive.
Yeah, that's great. Great story. I'm fascinated. I'm just sitting here listening. I enjoy this aspect of the industry. I'm always fascinated how people start something and then get to a point where you are. Started basically in 2013, 2014, right?
Yeah.
And you're 7-8 years into this thing, and you're still going. I mean, you're just scratching the surface. Sounds like you still have a lot of passion, a lot of drive, a lot of interest in pursuing other things as well, making and expanding the line. Because it's not easy. Because we've seen some people come through the industry, and several friends we were talking before we started talking with you, and they're not around anymore. So
they don't have that sustained success and the wise mode of growth that you've gone through. So big applause there. And speaking of applause, third set, baby.
Let's do it.
We gotta go quick. We gotta go quick third.
We need to go a little faster tonight. Normally,
yes.
we know Andrew has to be up early. So first band you saw in concert?
The Who.
The Who.
Me too.
Really?
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're way different ages. For me, it was 82. The Clash opened for The Who, Shea Stadium in Queens. How about you? Where'd you see The Who?
MSG, I think it was like 2002.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Which tour is that? Okay. So
it was their eighth comeback tour. The
Who. Is this their last tour, right?
This is their last tour, yeah.
Of The Who. Wow.
Love The Who, man. What an iconic, amazing first show.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good.
In 2002, so that's about 20 years ago. So you were about 15 at the time, something like that, 16?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Wow, your parents let you go to that, huh?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Maybe because and this was right after 9/11 too. I remember like that being like a thing. I was like kind of scary, like to go to anything in the city. I was like, this is so, but it was an unreal concept.
In Manhattan with 15,000, 20,000 close friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
At Madison Square Garden.
Love it.
At the Garden.
The Garden. The Garden.
Are you a music guy? Are you interested in music?
I am. I mean, I'm a big, like, I kind of like everything.
Yeah.
I know I'm one of those guys that, like, when I say it, I mean it. Like, you'd be shocked. I'll be listening to, like, Miley Cyrus, and I'll be listening to Drake. And I have no, like, I'll listen to One Direction. Like, in the car, and like, I don't care. It's good. These guys aren't making $1 billion for nothing, right? So,
right. They got it. Hey, they figured out social media and how to do these things.
They did.
And this guy's figuring it out as well. I think you're taking a page from their book. Who's your favorite band? Do you have a favorite?
I mean, growing up, it was The Who for sure. That's kind of why I went to that concert. Say now, I don't know if I can really answer that question. I'll tell you, I'm a big Rascal Flatts guy.
Rascal Flatts.
I think I went to their. I've only been to I'm not a big concert guy. I mean, I like them, but I never actually think to go. If you set it up, I'll go. And my buddy had tickets, and he was like, "You want to go to this thing?" And they were world class.
Yeah.
Those guys are good.
We've not had
big in Texas.
Yeah, we've never had Rascal Flatts mentioned.
Yeah,
you guys should go. It seems like it would be a great place, to see them. It would be down south somewhere.
Yeah, Oklahoma, Texas. They tour here all the time.
Yeah.
The next time they're here, we'll let you know, and you can come down.
Yeah,
we'll get you. We'll get you a ticket.
Great. Yeah,
we'll get Andrew to come down. So last part of this, the band type theory question here. If you're in a band, I've got a theory about this guy already. So we've asked this question a lot. All right. So if you're in a band, are you the lead singer, lead guitarist, drummer, keyboard, bass guitarist, glockenspiel player like me? I'm a glockenspiel player. You probably never heard the glockenspiel, but I can play that. So where are you sitting in the band? Are you Roger Daltrey?
I think I'd be the guitarist.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you'd be sitting in the background? Are you strumming the?
Well, no. Up front, let him sing. But lead. You're
lead guitarist. There you go. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know if I would want to be the. Well, probably because I have a horrible voice. So, in terms of the singing, just brutal. But I mean, overall, if you could pull that off, that's a good move too. One or the other, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like the singer's the kind of the pretty boy but it's like the guitarist is always the coolest dude.
Always.
Pull it off,
Always.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. I mean all the great guitarists. Eddie Van Halen.
Keith Richards. Yeah. Jimmy Page. Pete Townsend.
Right.
Yeah.
Pete
Just tremendous.
Yeah. So, all right. First paid job, Andrew Redvanly. Were you a paper route kid? Did you sack groceries?
Caddy. First. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Caddy at a golf course.
He's a looper. He was a looper.
Love it.
Looping them bags.
Looper.
Yeah. Did you make money? Was it a?
Oh, it was great. I mean, in high school, it was great. I mean, you would make, pretty good cash for a summer. I remember make 10, 12 grand. I mean, that was insane. And I remember a couple of kids that I did it with would make even a little bit more because they were there all day, every day. But I definitely thought I was on top of the world, because you're dealing with all these guys have a little bit of money and you're like, oh, and then these other kids are working at Dairy Queen. Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, I caddy for the CEO. This company there, he's gonna hire me. Well, he didn't hire me, so but yeah, it was a cool job.
Were you the Danny Noonan of your club?
Be the ball.
We have to give Caddy
Be the ball for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have a tie? What was Ty's? Chevy Chase's character Ty. What was his last name?
Oh, I forgot his name.
Yeah. That
Great
was such
character.
a fun. Did you have an existence like that at your caddy experience? Where you guys was there a bunch of crazy things going on?
Yeah, there's always. I mean, in all country clubs, I think there's always a lot of riff-raff, a lot of Caddyshack stuff in terms of the members or what, because I feel like the caddies know the club better than anybody, right? Because I think a lot of the members they'll let loose with the young caddies and kind of let them, they're kind of, you're on a friend level, right? Yeah. So you kind of hear what's going on and know what's going on and, what's the deal with this guy and his wife and this and these stories and
gossip.
You're sitting there going, wow, man, you're 15, 16 years old. And you're like, ooh, I didn't know this stuff happened.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies and TV shows, Caddyshack like that, what's your favorite movie, TV show? What do you like to watch?
I would say my favorite comedy of all time is Dumb and Dumber.
Oh really? Tremendous.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would say,
pardon me.
TV shows. I mean, I love Breaking Bad. I mean, who didn't, right?
Boy.
And then I'm trying to think of other ones that I'm watching.
Are you a binge watcher? You hit Netflix and watch 6 episodes at a time, or?
I mean, if I had the time, I would do that. But I will say though, I do like the Netflix. I mean, I'll do 2 or a couple in a row. I like the idea of. I feel like it's so much easier now to watch TV than it is a movie. A movie, you got to figure out what you want, go through the whole thing. It's 2.5 hours. You're like, okay. By the time you figure out what you want, you're like, it's 11 o'clock. I got to go to sleep. Where
I gotta get
the
up.
Netflix is just so perfect, like right there. And it's, so, I mean, what's that show with, oh my God, with Jason Bateman? They didn't come back.
Arrested Development or Ozark?
Ozark.
Definitely. I liked Ozark, and I felt like he drew upon the Marty Bluth character from Arrested Development. And, of course, the writers drew heavily on Breaking Bad. As a Breaking Bad fan, I was like,
for sure.
I like this, but I feel like it's so close. But I like it, but it's a little derivative. But love it. I don't know if that's coming back for a third, is it?
I know, probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, it's great because now these guys, they just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Right? They can just it used to be season by season by season. All of a sudden, it's like 5 years later, they're like, all right, we're ready.
All right.
Another one.
Yeah.
But
glad they do.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
I'm a big breakfast guy. And then I'd say dinner would be second. And lunch is kind of like.
Skip it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work through.
Yeah. Even, there's something about lunch that just. In the middle of the day, after I eat lunch, I have to go to sleep. Like I can't, I literally can't think. I guess that's how you know you're getting older. Like
he's getting older.
Yeah. Ooh, I like to be his age again.
So funny.
I'm telling you though, seriously, lunch, and it's like you got to get on a call. I try to schedule everything I do
early.
I try to eat lunch as late as I possibly can because it just, you can't really make proper decisions. I don't think.
So what are you eating for breakfast? You like breakfast burrito, bagels, that kind of thing?
I'm a big kind of like, eggs over easy, hash browns, bacon or sausage.
Yeah.
Hearty meal. Yeah, he's eating it. He's eating the
I thought as a New Yorker he'd say bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll. I thought he'd say something quick.
Same thing as lunch. I eat that early. I'm going back to bed.
I see. Yeah.
Well, speaking of meals, all right, we always ask our guests on the podcast. So we're going to have dinner, all right, you're going to have this soiree, like we say, soiree or brie down in South Africa, and Andrew's inviting. Well, we know we'd be invited, and then you're going to have some other guests. So maybe 4 or 5. It could be anybody from way back day one all the way the history of the world to people who we've not met yet. So who would you be? At least who's on your Mount Rushmore of dinner guests? Who would be? Would it be like a Ralph Lauren? Because you like clothing, who does Andrew invite to this soiree?
That's a really good question. I would say I was a big Yankees fan. Still am. Obviously, as you grow up with sports, you kind of realize like if they win, you don't get a check. So you kind of lose the passion a little bit. But I would say one of the guys that I really looked up to was Derek Jeter. Just winner. How he handles himself, so I would say Jeter would be one of those guys.
The captain.
Yeah, cool nickname. Yeah, such a winner and an organized, amazing guy.
Yeah, you never heard anything bad about Jeets. I mean, that's the guy. I mean, you hear other things about other people, but I've never heard anything really on him. He seems to be either laying low and nobody knows anything on him, or he's just that kind of good guy.
Yeah, and he's also too. I think he's smart guy, knew what he was doing, and just kind of like. And then I would say I was trying to think of who else. A lot of it's a tough question, man. Jeter's one that pops in my head.
Yeah,
quickly, right?
And from the hockey world, was there any hockey folks?
Mike Richter, again, one of my favorite hockey players, Messier, which, another guy that was just a leader in class. I think, those are the guys I think that do it right. When you're sitting there going, hey, there's no bad rap on these guys, and they competed every day. And whatever you're doing, whether you're in sports or in business or, as an actor or an athlete, whatever that may be, the people, I think those are the people that a lot of times, get looked up upon because they're on this stage. And when you can kind of handle it that way, it says a lot. Cause we're not on those stages and you have those days and you're just, you're like, how are these guys doing it with that sort of pressure?
So are you a Messier guy with the Oilers or the Rangers?
I would think Rangers, right?
Yeah, I figured he'd have to say that.
MSG, where he saw his first concert, probably had his first dates at places like this, and the Rangers.
Unfortunately, I saw my only cup when I was like 8 or 9, and that's probably going to be the only one.
That was it.
Yeah, the Rangers haven't had much.
No.
Yeah, mid-'90s, I think. I do recall those great years.
Yeah. It's even been longer for the Knicks. You know, the New York Knicks. That's another train wreck happening also too. So, anybody else you can think of just real quick before we go to the next question? Anybody else that you want?
I would say, who seems like a fun, great guy would be like a Clooney, right? Like he just seems like one of those guys, he's a movie star and he's great looking, but every time you see him, you're like, this guy looks like he's always having a good time. He's joking around, he's laughing, like. I kind of want to be like, how are you doing? Like, how are you doing it? Mm-hmm. Because, you see a lot of other these, movie stars, but you're like, maybe they seem full of themselves or maybe they're too cool for school. But like Clooney just looks like, a guy that's like, you want a beer? Like, let's put, something in this guy's drink. Let's do it. Like, he just seems like he's always got something going on.
Something going.
Yeah,
great dinner guest. He would spark cool
a lot of conversation.
Yeah, because Jeter probably wouldn't say too much, right? He'd be like, "Hey, I should." He wouldn't probably give me too many secrets.
I think he'd be an interesting guy because you might be able to, get him a few belts in, and then get him a few soda pops, and maybe we get him talking. Yeah, Clooney, Jeets, some hockey guys. Anybody else?
By the way, Andrew, you can dig back into different eras, history, literature. You can dig. Yeah.
My father got to meet George Bush Sr.
Oh wow!
And and everyone, and actually he came to Suffolk and spoke when I was there, and you could just tell how respected the man was from his military days on, and just seems like everybody has just like great things to say from like start to finish of his life. Yeah. So I think that would be a cool guest to have there. And also I know he's a big golfer and big athlete, loves sports. And also my grandparents have a house up in Maine where actually they have their estate nearby.
Is it Kennebunkport?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's some ties there too that I think would be kind of cool at dinner. Yeah.
Cool. I have this vision suddenly of Redvanly doing socks honoring George H.W. Bush because he always wore those stripy, like he might just have a light blue shirt and khakis, but he's got those amazing socks, and you can see him even when he was in a wheelchair in his last days. He had those amazing socks, and I thought that cat, he's cooler than his son. His son is the one everybody loves around here. We live in Dallas, and like you go to a Chinese place, and there's George W. Bush. Yeah. He's everywhere, but I don't think everybody adores him like that guy. Yeah, like the dad.
I would agree.
Yeah, senior's pretty unique individual. So, all right. One more thing. All right. So about this dinner, what are you serving? Just out of curiosity, what would you?
What do you like to cook or order in? What are you serving? Yeah.
I would say we would do it over Korean barbecue.
Oh, I love it.
Really? Korean barbecue.
Oh, some kimchi and all those little veggies, and then bulgogi.
Just tons of protein, and you can just keep eating, and you never get full. So I think for that sort of a dinner, you can just keep it going.
All right, next time.
What's your favorite Korean stuff? Because we have a few places in a certain neighborhood down here. What do you like, bulgogi, or what kind of beef do you go?
Yeah, no, that would be number one. Yeah, that would be number one, and then everything. I mean, everything else. I mean, just throw it on. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's. I mean, half the time I don't even know, what I'm even getting into. Yeah. But it's just it's so good, and just in a way, I could be completely wrong on it, but I feel healthy after just eating like a ton. Like it's the one dinner where you're out, you can just eat that much and actually walk up and actually go out afterwards and whatnot. At least for me.
Yeah, I feel the same. And the next day, strong. Like it is all fiber and protein. So good.
I guess chicken fried steak and mashed potatoes and gravy is on the menu.
More of the Texas.
Then you want to go to sleep after that.
Yeah.
All right. I have a feeling what you're going to answer on this one, but East Coast or West Coast?
Oh, I'm an East Coast guy for sure.
kind of around your area, or would you go more down by Florida? Or are you up by more by Maine, Kennebunkport, up in that area?
Well, I think that's what's kind of cool about the East. I think the East Coast kind of has so many different little nooks of, the Atlantic Ocean. Where you can be up in Maine and then down to Virginia Beach, the Jersey Shore, the Hamptons, Florida, and it all, you get a bunch of different, that 2-hour flight is going to be a lot different than maybe, going from like San Diego to Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Not that it's not great, because I do love California and it's gorgeous. I just think there's just so many more little tidbits of places and things. Even people on the East Coast, when I bring people up to Maine, and Maine's now like a pretty popular spot, that lower section, Kennebunkport, Algonquin. But people are up there like, this is only 4.5 hours away, and it's like a different world, different, and it just feels so vacation, and then you're, it's completely different than if you're at like the Jersey Shore, right? It's like that doesn't even compare the places. So yeah, definitely East Coast. And I think the people too range; they're different in different little sections. So wherever you go, it's a little bit of a new story, and
it is. I love the different accents within a 2-hour flight, and the different looks, and the different peoples, and different foods too.
Yeah.
Mountains or beach? Are you a mountain guy, beach guy?
I'm a beach guy.
Beach guy. Okay.
Yeah.
So more. Okay. Now, what part of the beach? Because there's a lot of different parts of the beach. Same thing. Like Jersey Shore Beach, more warm water-ish down in Florida.
Yeah, Carolinas, Florida.
Yeah. A little bit of both. I think out by us, when you go out all the way out east, the beaches are absolutely, gorgeous. And I like the fact that, there's, the one issue with the Jersey Shore in a lot of parts are like, it's usually right off of, not a busy road, but there's that main drag there. And then the ocean, I love when the ocean's kind of like at the end there. And, you have that in certain areas of Florida for sure. And then depending on where you are, even in California, right? I love Santa Monica, Malibu, that whole area, but then you got Route 1 right there.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, ruins it a little bit. So anywhere where you can kind of shoot out and just homes, beach, and roads away are kind of my thing.
Yeah. Very cool. Sunrise, sunset. You a sunrise guy, sunset guy? Sunset, really? Even though you have to, you get up early a lot. I know that. You're more of a
but I'm definitely more of a. I think I have more of like a life later in the day. Than the morning's kind of like I'm good in the morning, but I'm also, you get a long way ahead of you, right? The end of the day is kind of nice. Kind of recap your day and hopefully you had a successful one.
Yep. Favorite season: summer, fall, winter, spring? Is there one that's a favorite?
Fall.
Like right now. Coming up, driving up to Maine and seeing the mountains and all the leaves.
Amazing leaves, yeah.
Fall's great.
Yeah, especially back east. I'd like to go up there. I've never driven up in that part of the country.
You've been to the U.S. Open many times, but that's like the end of summer, not really fall.
Right. That's
not as far south as New York.
Yeah, going up to Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, up that way. I think that'd be really pretty. Favorite holiday? What's your favorite holiday?
I got to go with Christmas.
Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just love the time leading up to it too, especially here in the city, and it's just the lights and everyone's in like a good mood, and there's just something. It really, it sounds kind of cliche, but there is that feel like that magic in the air, and then all of a sudden, at least for us, after that, then you're like, we need to get the hell out of here because now there's nothing to look forward to until March 15th. You got those 2 months where you're like, once the ball drops, you're like, oh.
Okay.
No more magic in the air.
Yeah.
Get back to work.
When Craig asked that, I thought, okay, he has a Thanksgiving birthday and he's in retail apparel. It's either Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's got to be. It turns out Christmas. Nice.
What do you like to do in your spare time when you have spare time?
Just like everybody else, I think, hang with family, friends. I do love to travel. And particularly, I mean, if it's in a weird way, I do travel a lot for work, but I kind of actually like that too, because I feel like, there's an energy to it where you can still see friends and kind of see new land, but also have kind of the excitement of whatever is going on business wise and brand wise. So I kind of find that almost in a way, similar to if you were, well, not similar, but it'd be way cooler to be traveling if you were that lead guitarist.
Yeah.
Around, but like kind of like seeing the world, right, as like a musician, but you're performing. I think, that's got to be like the most awesome way to see the world, where, you can kind of like have something to look up in the morning to and say, hey, let's do this, that, the third. And then we're playing at, X, Y, and Z in the middle of Rome or whatever. And you're like, that's a cool way to travel, I think.
Yeah, very much. All right, so we got a couple more questions here.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't have been involved in sports kind of the way you are, you've had a lot of sport things going on. What would you be doing right now, do you think?
I feel like some sort of sales job that involve people kind of being on the road. I really do enjoy. I think one of the biggest things that I enjoy from this company is the amount of people like you guys that I get to meet. And I always think to myself, like, what if I didn't do this? And all the people that, I'm able to meet, as opposed to maybe just, working with a group and kind of like, a few people come in to the office out, different people changing over. So I think I'm really lucky that I'm able to meet a lot of people. So I think I would want to do something that would allow for the same and to kind of broaden my network, whatever that may be. And I think that would probably be being on the road, sales, meeting people, and some sort of sales job.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful perspective.
Yep.
Charismatic guy too. So I'm sure people feel that way about you. I'm pre-ending the show by saying, prematurely ending the show by saying, what a pleasure it's been to get to know you. And I know your accounts or your reps who ride along with you, I'm sure they feel that way too. So well done, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Really cool.
It.
All right, so last question here. All right, last question. We always like to end with a kind of a thought-provoking question here. So I was sitting here thinking about what we're going to make this last question be. If you could make an alteration, so I went with the clothing.
I see what you did there.
You see alteration, sewing, clothing, that kind of thing. So if you could make an alteration to the clothing industry that you're involved in right now, the sporting industry, clothing industry, is there anything that you would make adjustment-wise, or do you like it the way it is?
In terms of like how the business works or production or
doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can talk distribution, production, supply, whatever you like.
Is there something that is
you can talk about people's attitudes, buyers, not just end users, but the managers or the people like Dan who sell the product extraordinarily well. You can talk about any of those.
Yeah, I think that I wish the industry would be a little bit more thinking of the business on both sides as a partnership. I think at times, anytime you're selling something, right, I think sometimes it's looked at as you're trying to sell me on something as opposed to partnering on, hey, how do we do this together, right? Like you guys are in the tennis world, we're in the tennis world, we want to grow the sport, we're a brand, you're a retail shop, how do we do this intelligently and try to build business together as opposed to, us trying to sell you and on the other side trying to say we need product and we need it now. And, let's try to map this out. As I always said, like, you look at other businesses when, most businesses are selling something, whether it's software, whatever, but it seems a little less archaic, right, than, the one that we're in at times. And I think right now it's nice because I think business is up for everybody. So I think you're starting to see that plan out a little bit better. And I think people are starting to see like, oh, we can make money together. Let's do it that way. And I'm not saying that for, everybody, but I just think that if everybody looked at it that way, like and I think brands need to do it too, right? You shouldn't just be selling as much as you possibly can if in a couple of years that might hurt that, that retailer because you're selling to everybody, right? Like there should be a point too where you say, hey guys, listen, let's take a year off because we want to make sure that next year when you guys get our stuff in, it blows out and it's like, oh, this stuff's back in here.
Yes.
Right? I think you can't take advantage too on our side and say, oh, just keep selling them.
Yeah, you don't want to be crazy.
Until it burns out.
Yeah, you don't want to be crazy consistent on a treadmill, and that's who peters out after 6 seasons.
Right. Yeah. That's
who we were talking about on the way in.
Yeah, because it is tough. Like I said, I've like I said, find you fascinating because you've made it through that period. That initial stage of it's great, everything's moving well, and then there's that about the year 5, 6 is when it really becomes tough and coming up with a design, coming up with a reason why we're still going on this thing. But I think you've got this plan really well laid out. Yeah. So, I mean, I think your business is definitely in infancy and it's going to be growing. So,
well, hey, before we wrap, back to rock and roll for a quick moment. I noticed the sweatshirt, which is not uncommon in the state of New Jersey. Is this a Springsteen sweatshirt?
This is, and I do like Bruce, and I think he's great. But it's funny. I was down in Asbury Park, and I just was like, I gotta grab this because it's just a cool.
It is.
And, my buddy is like, that's the name of his
album.
Like,
yeah.
I actually didn't.
You didn't even know. That's probably more my time than yours.
But I was like, I see this all over the place. I kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that's a really cool, logo for Asbury Park. Greetings from Asbury Park, and then it's Bruce's first album.
It's a postcard with photos of Asbury Park in every letter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So great sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's actually, last story I'll tell is my good buddy. He loves Bruce. Like there's people that love Bruce. It's kind of crazy. Like, and I know a few of them, and it's like, okay, it's cool, but like he literally was going to Asbury Park. This was like 7-8 years ago with his then fiance or his then wife or now wife, then fiance, and he was like, oh, what are you doing today? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, oh, we're gonna go down to Asbury, and just because apparently Bruce lives a couple towns over. And he just, he's a cool guy. Doesn't really care. He goes into the ice cream shop, goes to the beach, and like people just can go up to him and say, "Hey, what's going on?" Yeah. And apparently Saturday he's always out. So we go to this ice cream shop. Sure enough, door opens up. Swear to God, Bruce and his wife walk right in. My buddy's like about to order ice cream. And he just like he starts to like tremble,
sweating profusely.
So eventually, his now wife Laura is like, "Go! You gotta go! You gotta go talk to him because we came down here like 8 weeks in a row, and we finally found him." And he went over to him and just told him he was a big fan or something like that.
That's great.
And he was kind of like, "Thanks, kid."
Thanks, kid.
Pat him on the head, like, hey, yeah. That's always an awkward when you see you're like an icon, and somebody that you really look up to, and then you get to. They're right there in front of you. You're like, yeah. Then you just kind of get a little tongue-tied. So, I had a similar situation like that. We'll save that for another time. So
maybe next week.
Maybe next week. We'll save that. So, but
I'm taking notes of that one.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, what a blast, man! What a great fun conversation with you. Thank you for staying up a little bit late for us.
Yes.
I know you're about to go to bed,
guys.
Yeah. But it was fun for us. Thank you, buddy.
Much success to your business. Tell everybody where they can find you one more time.
Redvanly.com. And what we'll do too, guys, is I will do a promo code for the next 2 weeks. Just it'll be the ATNP, and you guys can save 20% if you type it in. So happy to do that. So we'll get that locked and loaded in like 15 minutes. So
love it.
Just hold off for 15.
He did that ad read so beautifully, like he's done it before, like you would with the swipe up promo code ATNP, 20% off your first order.
He's a lot better than I am.
That's great.
The viewers, right?
That's great.
Hey, if I'm going to send him to the site, I got to hook him up a little bit.
You got to hook him up with something.
I don't want to hard sell. Yeah,
I love it. Soft sell. 20%. I love it. Thank you.
We're going to have to grab a couple of shirts and put ATNP on here.
Yeah.
And,
we'll take care of you guys.
Especially the shorts. I love the idea of, athletic shorts that look good with anything and go to the movies.
So you have plenty of spandex. We need to expand because we're a couple of older gentlemen. I hope you don't do that European sizing stuff.
You guys will be good. Trust me.
Yeah, I hope an XL isn't actually an M. I want a proper XL.
We'll send some stuff down. I promise. Yeah.
You're so cool.
Just text me sizes and stuff.
Yeah. Easy.
Come back and see us sometime soon. We'll take you to some good Korean barbecue and also barbecue. We also Korean and barbecue.
Yeah.
We know a few places around. So
that's right.
And hopefully
definitely down there for sure.
All right, next time you're here, definitely lunch on us, Andrew.
Yep.
Big thanks. CB, what a great show. Well done.
Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Redvanly.com. That's the man right there. Go see him.
Awesome, guys.
All right.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Andrew.
Have a good night.
Cheers, buddy.
Take care.
See ya. Good night. What a fun guest, everybody.
Man.
Hit us with comments, questions, all that kind of stuff. I just really enjoyed the time with you and Andrew.
Andrew's great. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go as deep as we normally do, but we respected his time. He asked that we go a little bit quicker than George Schudelberg with 3 hours.
Georgie made us laugh for 3 hours, not just quick 3 sets.
Yeah, so it was fun with Andrew tonight. He's got a really interesting leisure, active sportswear, however you categorize it. Go check out Andrew Redvanly. It was really interesting, getting to know somebody's mind who's actually started something, up from nothing and had an idea and has got it going fairly well over in, 700 locations, did he say?
Yeah, 700 stockists and 400 here in the States.
Yeah.
Tremendous meteoric success, and I love seeing stories like that.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun tonight. That was our first guest that was really kind of in that world,
in that space. Retail apparel.
Yeah. But in the sports side of it as well. So very nice. All right, so let's close her down tonight with a little James Scott Campbell here on his birthday. Right?
Happy birthday to Jim.
Yeah. All right, thanks for listening to Season 1, Episode 99 of At the Net Podcast. Join us next week as we'll be talking, just the two of us. I think we're going to do a recap.
A chill and grill, a recap of 2.5 years, 100 episodes, 160 if you count the Wednesday ones.
That's on Halloween, too.
That is. What will Craig Bell wear as his entrance?
Yeah,
a Halloween costume?
I don't know. We'll have to see. It'll be fun. Also, this week we're going to be off on Wednesday night. I've got an event here at the club, so it's going to be a little tougher for me to be able to do Wednesday night. But normally on Wednesday nights we do on our Instagram page. We always do
tennis shorts. Yep. We get to find out what's in Craig Bell's tennis shorts.
Not a lot.
That's not this week, but almost every Wednesday all year. Yep. That's 8 Central, 9 Eastern. So join us for that every Wednesday. Join us for this coming Sunday, a week from tonight. Yep. Just the two of us, and then we're back to our pretty good log jam wait list of guests in November, December, and January.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be back on we've got a Facebook page ready to go. We just haven't quite got it for the public viewing yet, but we'll be back on Facebook here shortly. So, all right, everybody, also be sure to like it on Instagram, really soon on Facebook, and our other social media outlets, and tell a friend or friends. We like netheads, right?
We like netheads. We like Redvanly, and hit that promo code ATNP on their site and get a couple cool things.
All right, everybody, and that's the tennis news as it
seems to us.
Seems. Did you get that?
Seems.
That even has a difference.
You didn't even have to alter it.
All right, good evening, everybody from Dallas, Texas.